Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is sort of a quick tutorial for the Smart Parallax Effect system. This system allows you to create parallax effects for 2D games as easily as possible. So the first thing you need to know is that this is a single actor system. So all you need is to include this actor called the Parallax Manager into your level. The second thing you want to do is group, if you haven't done already, your actors within the scene. I mean, for example, the trees, the clouds, the sparkles into layers according to their depth. Here we have these foreground elements, and I want to assign them to a layer. So all these foreground trees will be assigned to a foreground layer. How do we do this? First, you go to the window menu and you enable layers panel. In the layers panel, I here did already assign each of these actors into a single layer. So let me show you here. I have a foreground layer, a first background layer, a second background layer, and the clouds finally. Now let's go into the manager. Here you have a couple of settings to adjust. All of them are under the parallax group or category. The first thing you want to do is set a parallax scale. This is the most important value here. Before we do this, I forgot to tell you that this manager allows you to create parallax effect in all directions. So based on your game, if you have a platformer game, usually you want an X and Z value. Z-axis parallax, a top-down usually have an X and Y axis parallax. In our game, it's a platformer, so I want a both Z and X parallax. You want really small values here. A value between 0.1 to 0.25 is a good one. This scale basically it scales the movement that is done by the player. For example, if the player have moved 500 centimeters, this would mean, I don't know, 50 centimeters or something. Second, I will talk about the bounce and all of these optimizations later. The second thing you want to do for your parallax effect to work is add or assign layers. So let's delete all of these and do them together. So we have created 4 layers here, so we need 4 layers in the parallax manager. The order doesn't really matter. The first thing we want, for example, to assign the foreground layer. So we select foreground layer. The parallax layer, this value here, the vector here, is a multiplier of the parallax scale. So you can think of it like this. Parallax scale is a global value, and this vector is a multiplier of it. So you can have some tweaks and adjustments. I usually multiply it by half. And now let's talk about the background layers. So we have 3 background layers. For a good parallax effect, you want the first background layer to move faster than the second, and the second one move faster than the third one. So how do you do this? We first select the first background layer and a value of 0.5 again, and then the second background layer, and here's 0.25, and finally the final background layer, a value of 0.1. This way, the first background layer will move faster than second, and second faster than third, or whatever, how many background layers you have. You basically have to do the same thing. Now let's talk about the bound and this is scaling. The bound usually should be set to a value larger to cover the entire screen. It basically partitions the actors within this. It creates a box. All actors within the box will receive updates. Otherwise, they will be ignored. It's an optimization. The distance scaling. After we have created the bound, objects that are closest to the center of the bound, will move faster than objects just at the corner of the bound. The max movement step and update delta time, they are throttles. The update delta time, how many times in a second should the system update. And max movement step is an optimization when the player is idle. A value of 100 or 10 really doesn't matter. It means that the player should have moved at least the same amount of distance before we update. Since when the player is idle, it's not really moving, so no parallax updates are happening. It really saves some performance. Update time delta, it runs, for example, if you have too many updates, the player is moving too fast, for example, this throttles this down. Now let me show you how this looks like. So, as you can see here, the foreground layers and the background layers move in their correct directions. This is done automatically for you. And the clouds really move really subtly, and we really have now kind of a more dynamic feel for our environment. Now let me show you the debug feature. And let's have a really absurd small bound. So after we have enabled debug, we have this green box. This is your bounding box. Look, for example, to this tree. It is not updating because it is outside of bounds, and now it is receiving updates. The objects within the bounds, as you can see, have now their own boxes, and these boxes have colors between red and blue. Red means it is receiving full updates, and blue it is receiving minimal updates. And this is the distance scaling at work. Yeah, so if we disable it, we'll have basically the entire layer move when the player moves. If we enable it, objects within the layer have different speeds depending on their distance from the player or the center of the bound. So basically that's it. As you can see, the steps for making or adding the parallax effect into your game becomes really simple. You basically first add the actor, then group your actors or scene actors into layers, then add the layers to your parallax manager and tweak the values until you have a good feel and a good effect. So hope you guys like this blueprint. If you did like it, do please consider purchasing it. Also, feel free to comment on any ideas, updates, or if you have a certain feature you want to develop, let me know. I can help you out. And thanks. See you later.